reader,
reviewer,
countryman,
lend us your ear.
And a huge thank you to all of our Patreons.
Thank you to the Pit Fighters, the First Swords, and all of the Bright Stars, Truth and Courage.
Hello and welcome to the channel today. I'm Will, this is my brother Ed, and today we are talking about our very, very, very favourite standalones of all time. Our fourth favourite to our first favourite, and some honourable mentions to go into the pile as well, because the more books, the merrier. To see our 10th favourite to 5th favourite, check out the video we've already put out there. But for our very best, our very favourite,
Will,
the ones we are talking...
Let's get into the video. Let's get down to business.
Let's talk about your fourth, Ed.
To talk about The Road. Number 4 for me is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. Now, Cormac McCarthy is one of my favourite writers. The Road is one of his most powerful books. This book is truly incredible. I mean, it won the Pulitzer Prize for no... not for no reason. For no reason.
It's a bit rude.
Not for no reason. Because it truly is a groundbreaking book. It is a story of a father and his son in a post-apocalyptic world as they are just travelling through the country, trying to keep each other safe.
Oh, it's so dark.
Together,
and that makes it sound lovely. But there is very little hope.
They are carrying the fire.
They are indeed.
What little fire is left. And I think Cormac McCarthy isn't really a writer who really gets you to become emotionally involved. I think you can become maybe emotionally involved through his just glorious prose, but with the characters, I rarely
are meant to be admired.
Rarely feel that pull. Now, the only other book that to me has the same level of emotion as The Road, even more so in my opinion, is The Crossing. His main character, Billy Parnham, is one of my favourite characters ever. But The Road is truly brilliant. The stark prose, the incredible flashbacks as well that you experience in this book, and it's just something that you feel is a masterpiece as you're reading it. It goes on such a journey. I mean, there is a scene around the halfway point that I still think about, and I try not to think about at night time because it terrifies me, but it is truly remarkable.
Fantastic book. And next up for me, number 4. You can put that down, Ed. We can't just have The Road in the whole video.
I thought you might need it for a bit later.
Oh, well, maybe I'm already prepared. We
maybe.
shall see. Number 4 for me is a book we both read in 2024. It's Glorious Exploits by Ferdia Lynn. And yes, if you follow the channel, we're talking about it again. Every video, basically. Right. It's historical fiction. It's about 2 potters in Syracuse putting on a play using Athenian prisoners.
Sounds pretty nice,
Potter.
Right? Well, your dog's called Potter.
Yeah.
And I just see 2 potters.
No, not 2 dogs called Potter. 2 potters as a profession. And so, yeah, it sounds like, quite a nice story, right? But they're going to upset a lot of people by using prisoners of a war that has killed many Syracusians. And also, they're exploiting kind of their position by giving food and drink to prisoners. So there's a bit of a power dynamic. But it's a story of so much heart and heartbreak. It is one that moves you so much. I was not ready for the emotional roller coaster that this is. Every scene feels like it should be studied. If you want to be a writer, this is how to evoke emotion. Yeah. And it is a magnificent story that I think I'm only loving more over time. It's not diminishing. There is no recency bias. I love it more now than the day I finished that final page. So The Glorious Exploits, incredible story. Check out our review on the channel for some more in-depth thoughts.
And number 3 for me. Now we're really getting into the huge hitters now, and it has to be James.
And that is a huge book as well.
James Clavell's Shogun, and no, it's not part of a series. It's part of a saga called the Asian Books or something. You can't just say it's a series when they're all set in the same continent. It's just silly.
Are there any same characters?
No, I haven't read them. So I don't think so. No, there aren't anyway. But Shogun, this book is something that I think pretty much everyone would have heard of. I mean, the new series that came out on Disney was utterly incredible. It's won pretty much every award. It deserves every accolade. Shogun, the book, is the reason for its greatness because the source material is just so good. Shogun is incredible. It's a story of John Blackthorne has been washed up. He's an Englishman, has been washed up on the shores of Japan. And he enters a feudal world that is unlike the one that he has come from. And it is so different in so many ways. In some ways, it is eye-opening and beautiful. And, you know, he starts to fall in love with it. In other ways, it is brutal and horrifying. And it really tests him in different ways. Shogun is a story of this man experiencing this land and the people within it. And he has, like some great books that we've read, like it reminds me of Amara in The Wolf Den. This man has no agency. He almost has just no chance, no hope. His only hope is that he knows how to sail a massive ship, basically. But apart from that, he just has nothing apart from being a foreigner in a land that does not want him there, that wants to chew him up and spit him out. And it's just a fantastic book. James Clavell's writing is top notch. His character work is insane. Toranaga, based on Ieyasu Tokugawa, is just one of the best written characters ever. I think if you ever do a historical fiction list of favourite characters or well-written characters, Toranaga will be up there, as well as Mariko. Just so many things to love about Shogun. The set pieces are incredible. Now, some people were disappointed with the ending. When I read it when I was 16, I was disappointed with the ending because it's the promise of a massive battle.
And it doesn't deliver.
It's not a good postman. It's more like an every driver who says they've been to your house, that they've given you a parcel. But no, it's somewhere else. Or they just haven't turned up at all. But apart from that, it's an incredible book. And I think it will always be one of my favourites. And I can't wait to reread it. It's something I just want to give so much time to. I want to read it slowly, enjoy it, savour it. But I haven't read it for about 10 years now.
Wow.
It's incredible.
How do you feel getting to the age where you're saying that?
I'm old.
You are indeed.
I'm an old man.
My number 3 is something very different. This year list is predominantly military fantasy, military historical
Swords!
Fiction. War.
Death! Blood!
All the terrible stuff. But here I've got something that's basically a romance. Normal People by Sally Rooney.
There is a lot of conflict, though.
I had to push the boundaries and pick Normal People up. It's not the usual book that I will read, and I love it so much. Connor and Marianne are two of the best characters ever. This is a book that no matter what genre you read, I would recommend reading Normal People. It's one that has stayed with me. I remember it so fondly. It literally, it didn't literally tear my heart out. It metaphorically tore my heart out, stamped on it, and left it there
across your life.
It did. And Normal People is a magnificent story that is so emotional, and I love how these two characters, their lives are just intertwined. They've got this magnetic pull. They just can't get out of each other's stories, and they influence each other so much. And it's about how you can change someone for the good, basically. In the end, there's a quote, something like, "We've done so much good for each other," and it just destroys my soul.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not. I need to get on to the next book.
I think you just like the book because you love Paul Mescal.
The adaptation is fantastic as well. But yeah, that is Normal People by Sally Rooney, my third favourite instalment of all time.
So my number 2 is the best historical fiction, military historical fiction ever written. No questions. It is Gates of Fire by Stephen Pressfield. This book is incredible. It's this philosophical take on the Spartans, and it was written, I believe, in the early 2000s. It might have even been earlier. Might have been later.
Do you want to talk as I check?
You can, that's fine. But it follows the story of the Spartans leading up to the infamous battle, the notorious Thermopylae, which is where the Persians invaded Greece and the Spartans decided to hold them off at the Hot Gates. The Hot Gates is a great name, isn't it?
It is a great name, yes.
I mean, it sounds like you'd go there for like a shower or something and a bath rather than a battle against a million Persians. But, to each in their own. This book is incredible. It creates this bond of brotherhood and friendship and comradeship between two different peoples. People that don't get along, people that are at odds with one another, and then it brings them together for this final crescendo against the overwhelming threat of the Persians, and it is just an incredible book. I love Stephen Pressfield's writing, the way that he mixes this kind of archaic way of storytelling with this modernist approach. I think is just truly spellbinding, and when I read the first page, I knew that I was reading a masterpiece of literature.
Very nice. It might be because I'm blind, but I think it said 1998.
Nice. Great year, Will.
And now my number 2 is one that's already been talked about this video. It is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. This is a book that just speaks to my soul. When you say that it's a book about a father and son travelling over the land, looking after each other,
sounds
giving
like
each other
Winnie
meaning,
the Pooh in the 100
it
Acre
sounds
Wood.
beautiful, but no. It's Cormac McCarthy. It's going to be dark and brutal and gritty. But as Ed said, you pointed out very... I've forgotten the word. Very...
Poignantly?
Insightfully.
Oh, wow.
Very insightfully.
You don't usually use that word with me, do you? So.
But I am here. Very insightfully, that this is a book of Cormac McCarthy's where there's a lot of heart that drives you through the brutal landscape that we are shown.
Yeah.
The Road is about a father doing anything to protect his son in a world that almost seems not worth living in with what is going on. You only see the dark side of humanity. But
without light, there is no dark. Without dark, there is no light. If you fall, I will catch you.
All right, Ed. But The Road, it is a magnificent story that carries you through the darkness with that feeling of hope, and you just want these characters to survive and do well and find a land of greenery. It makes you value landscapes and nature, doesn't it? When most of
you
this
will love
is just
trees
barren.
after you read this.
You will indeed. And The Road, it really is a road. It's an odyssey, a journey.
It's a naturalist
these
approach.
characters go through. It is indeed. And The Road, fantastic story. Ed already said so much about what I love about this story as well.
Say so much.
Cormac McCarthy, one of the best writers of all time, and I think he's at the top of his game with The Road.
Let's talk about some honourable mentions. We have 3 each.
We do.
Very, very rapidly quick fire, which we wouldn't want a slow quick fire, would we?
We wouldn't.
We wouldn't survive in the American West if we were just doing a slow quick fire.
No.
Anyway, I'll stop now. Number 1 for me is another Cormac McCarthy book, No Country for Old Men. Now, this is the story of a man making a terrible decision and choosing money over anything else, thinking he'll get away with it. And in the end, if you do choose money, there will be a psycho with a crazy haircut and a coin and a shotgun following you. And his name is Anton Chigurh. And that guy is probably the best villain I've ever read. Anton Chigurh is one of my favourite perspectives to read from because... And correct me if I'm wrong, Will, but I saw... I think I saw an article once upon a time where... psychologists analysed many different basically psychos. And Anton Chigurh was the most accurately portrayed one in No Country for Old Men.
Wow, I didn't know that.
In terms of writing,
certainly believe it.
Exactly. So
because he's got this flawed, amoral sense of logic. That carries him through, and he's consistent with that.
Yes, absolutely.
He's not evil for evil's sake.
No, he gives people a chance.
Exactly. Toss a coin. Keep that lucky coin.
I wish I could do his voice, but I just can't.
But
I did actually go as Anton Chigurh for a Halloween party, which maybe in hindsight wasn't the best idea, but I did have a good shotgun with me, so that was good.
Not many times you can say that.
The haircut didn't suit me, though.
No, it didn't.
No.
But one for both of us, which is on both of our lists, is True Grit as an honourable mention.
The Western of all Westerns.
Who's your favourite character in a Western, Ed?
Just in a Western?
Yeah.
Oh, no. No.
I thought you were going to say Mattie Ross, because she's certainly mine. Mattie Ross is a 13-year-old character who just leaps off of the page. She's not too intelligent that it makes it so unbelievable, but she runs rings around anyone she talks to. I talked about
She's
logic.
got a lot of chutzpah.
Cool, book just fell.
It's my phone.
Oh, Ed, that is better than dropping a book, though.
Yeah.
But True Grit is a story, a tale of vengeance. Mattie Ross's father has been killed, has been murdered, and Mattie Ross has to take matters into her own hands and find those that can bring her justice. And so it is a story of mainly dialogue, discussion between certain characters, and it is just magnetic and such a wonderful story.
It's quirky.
And it has that key theme of vengeance, which fantasy readers love to read as
also
well.
True. Yeah. It's got found family as well, which it does just impossibly well.
It does indeed. And there we go. That is True Grit. And now onto your
last one for me is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, who I believe S.E. Hinton was a teenager when she wrote this. And it is two rival gangs are basically at war with each other, and it's the story of 3 of the greasers.
During the 50s?
Yes, it's set during the 50s. I think S.E. Hinton's writing from experience as well, seeing it play out in her neighbourhood. But it's just one of the best coming-of-age stories. It's one of the best, maybe, kind of the human condition stories of people coming together. Found family is a major aspect of these books. And seeing this order of events happening to these characters is incredibly heartbreaking, but it's a very important book. And The Outsiders is something I think of very often, and I haven't read it since I was about 14. So yeah, the film is incredible as well.
Oh, great
isn't it? A stunning film. But yeah, The Outsiders, S.E. Hinton, amazing.
just missed off my list, I'm afraid, Ed. It was number 14.
Savage.
But for me, I have got The Wolf of Wessex by Matthew Harvey. If you want crime with ancient Saxon England and the Vikings.
This is True Grit, but really, if John Wayne had a sword.
With a mix of Logan as well. I love that the dark humour in this book is fantastic and not what I expected, but it's a crime investigation. It is that trope of a retired veteran who is pushing away their past life, trying to live a new peaceful one, but circumstances are just not going to allow it. They're going to have to pick up that weapon to defend what is right once again. And so that's a fantastic trope. It's been done many times, but when done well, it is magnificent, and that is why so many authors have attempted to do it. And so this is one of my favourite uses of that trope. Wolf of Wessex, great story. I love the crime investigation, and I love the perfect balance of immersion into the historical period, but not too much that it gets bogged down in the detail. So they're great. And there's not many historical fiction standalones in this period of time. And so this is the one to pick up, in my opinion.
I've got a last one.
I'm
so sorry.
That's really rude.
I'm so sorry.
Last one for me is Let the Right One In. This is a horror, but one which makes us question who the real monsters are. There are vampires present, but I hate the humans more in this.
Yeah.
And I love how that is kind of flipped on. The vampires are not nice. I'll just say that. There are monsters, and it's more a comparison. Yeah. Who's worse? But it is one that really makes you question what makes a monster. Is it just about them being different? Is it a monster when it's your innate need? Do we question the lion that kills a gazelle? Do we call that evil?
Wow, Will.
It's a big question.
Yeah. Do we say it's evil just because it's a person?
So there are questions proposed, and Let the Right One In. It's written fantastically, and there are some great adaptations.
Yes, there are indeed. So now on to my favourite standalone of all time. Now, we've spoken about him a few times, but it is going to be a Cormac McCarthy book, and it is Blood Meridian. And I've read Blood Meridian probably about 7 times.
That is a lot.
It is a lot. And it's, as I was mentioning in the last video...
I think it's the best thing I've ever done for you.
Yeah.
Is saying that you should read Blood Meridian.
It changed my life. Because it's when I wasn't reading very much. This book and The Sun by Philip Meyer are responsible for me... my reinvigoration of, is that a word? Of loving reading. And it really...
Igniting the fire.
Yeah, it really did ignite my fire. And it was actually the first Cormac McCarthy book I read, which lots of people say don't
Quite
do.
A place to start.
The prose captured me, the way that the landscape feels like a person, the way that Cormac McCarthy is able to use, his vocabulary just to sum up different experiences and to make you, his run-on sentences and all sorts of literary techniques that I didn't really understand, but they just spoke to me. They really made me see writing in a completely different way, and it was inspiring. And also the subject matter was incredibly harrowing, and it made me research a lot into the behind the scenes of this book, into the history as well. And I think when you read something like that, historical fiction is great for making you want to explore more of that time period. And this book is just incredible. The characters, Judge Holden's character is incredibly memorable. Many set pieces. It's just a book that I will come back to again and again. And I think I read it every single year now, sometimes twice.
It's a tradition.
But it is just a fabulous book that really captured me. I mean, it's incredibly brutal. If you haven't heard of it, it's a story of basically a bunch of scalp hunters in the Mexican War going along and earning money, collecting scalps. And it is as harrowing as that premise sounds. It's an incredibly brutal and heartbreaking book. Now, I wouldn't say that you get involved emotionally with the characters, but there are so many other things at play with Cormac McCarthy's way of writing that you are swept up in this kind of dust-filled journey of blood and, again, dust.
It's the only book that I thought was fantastic, but when I closed the final page, I just sat there for a few minutes shaking my head. Literally, just sat there, just in silence, just... shaking my head and how it made me feel at that ending. And
there are some things in here that are quite vague on purpose. There are some things that you are able to interpret yourself depending on how you've read it. And what I love about this is that every time I return to it, I find something new. I find something different. So, yeah.
Can you believe I was told to read that for college?
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I
had a uni teacher.
I'm glad I didn't read this when I was 16 or 17 because I'm very impressionable.
Yeah, I was 17.
It would have become my life just reading this book. So thank you for that one.
You just read that again and again and never read anything else.
Yeah, I wouldn't have read anything else.
But number one for me is a book that it's already talked about. It is Gates of Fire by Stephen Pressfield. I love with this story that it's historical fiction about Thermopylae, something we're all fascinated by. And it has been exaggerated. I'm not quite sure how the defeat has been turned into a victory. It is a magnificent piece of propaganda, really. I think Tom Holland, the historian, actually said he thinks it's the greatest, most successful piece of propaganda.
Yeah.
Because it is a loss that, whilst it did have an influence, it didn't cause anything seismic to happen. But it was a stage of
the people
war.
under Darius's control didn't even know about it.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Although there might have been them thinking we cannot.
Yeah, but it's such a big empire. You think news is going to go around.
It is going to go around.
Yeah, we lost.
But Gates of Fire is a story that speaks to me in how it engages with the question of, do we attach ourselves to something greater than us? Do we owe that duty to others? This is a very gritty story. We've got some characters that appear terrible at first, but then through learning their motivations, they are flipped on a dime and you love them. And that is the complex character work I look for in books. And it was delivered time and time again on a platter, really. I was full up by the end of reading Gates of Fire. Wow. It's a story that, as I said, is gritty, and the Spartans are not shown in the most pleasant of lights a lot of the time. But it's one that you also admire them at the same time as detest them. It's pretty wonderful and a huge success that Stephen Pressfield made me feel both those emotions at the same time, even though they should jar against each other. It is a story that on top of that has a philosophical edge that makes me think. I look back on Gates of Fire a lot. It's a lot about that camaraderie, the influence you have on each other, and what is important about life. It starts as a tale of vengeance, but it ends as a story about doing what's right for those that you love. And I love that progression we see as well. Incredible story. We've got a review on the channel. And check it out for deeper thoughts.
It's probably the best battle I've ever read.
It is fantastic.
Yeah.
There we go. Action, character work, growth, plot, story, philosophical edge. That's my favourite standalone of all time.
Thank you for watching our video on favourite standalones of all time. Please let us know in the comments below. What would you recommend, I wonder? But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Truth and Courage, The Brothers Gwynne.
The Brothers Gwynne.